All right, this is SSL Family Dad, and today let's check out some viewer comments. All right, so something that I have been wanting to do since I started this YouTube channel was every once in a while, every month or every few months, address and answer some common questions and viewer comments. So let's check out some comments and questions from viewers over the past 30 days. Michael Gutierrez says, if you got pigs, you could plow that ground and let them loose in there. They will break it down good. I think this was on the pumpkin patch video or the corn patch video. Michael, that is a great idea and something that I have tried in the past. We tried that with our kitchen garden, but unfortunately our fencing wasn't very good and the pigs constantly got out. So when I have some portable electric fencing or something like that that I can set out and let those pigs go to work, I definitely will do that. In fact, that pumpkin patch is going to be fenced in permanently, and I'm going to house animals in there year round, except for the time that we're growing pumpkins throughout the spring and the summer. So, great idea. Tyler Jones says, really dropped the ball on the determinate versus indeterminate explanation. This was on our Gardening 101 series. We're talking specifically about tomatoes, and I mentioned the difference between determinate and indeterminate tomato plants. And I think there's a couple things here. This wasn't just his comment. There were several people that made this comment or similar comments, and so I know it wasn't. I know it was something that I could clarify a little bit better. Let's just say. So if we're talking generally, a determinate plant means that it has a determined life. A lot of people refer to that, and a lot of definitions online refer to that as a determined height. Both things are true. Here in Michigan, our season is fairly short, and so no matter what kind of tomato plant you plant, or pepper plant, or whatever you plant, it's going to die at the end of the year, and they're not going to get that tall. A determinate tomato plant has a determined life. That also means that it has a determined height. It grows for a certain period of time, and then it stops growing. That is what the term determinate means. It is determined that it has an end. For pepper plants and other kinds of vegetables, this is more interesting to me because if it's an indeterminate variety, meaning that its life or height is not determined, then I can overwinter that plant. And for here in Michigan, that's really what I focus on. So if you have an indeterminate type of tomato plant, people were saying that means they grow taller. Yes, that is 100% accurate. An indeterminate variety of tomato plant will grow taller, especially if you have a longer growing season or you're growing in a greenhouse. This is what most commercial greenhouses grow. They grow 10, 12 feet, they keep on growing and keep producing the whole entire time. Here in Michigan, again, all of my experience, whether it's determinate or indeterminate varieties, they grow to very similar heights. I mean, they're gonna be within a foot of each other because they don't have a long enough time to really get any taller than that anyway. So I apologize about the confusion. I don't know if I want to go as far as say that I dropped the ball, but hopefully that clarifies determinate and indeterminate. And if you still have questions, check it out online. Lindell Hughes says, you're supposed to do all that pre-summer maintenance when it's raining outside or too cold to do anything else. This was on a tractor repair video that we did a little while ago. That is absolutely correct. One of the things that I've learned out here is time management. Whenever we are down, whenever there's a day when it's raining, whenever the weather is too cold or whatever, that's a great time for me to get equipment maintained, do oil changes, fix the things that are broken, and all those kinds of things. So I didn't get to that particular repair during those down times and had to get it done before our hay season started. But Lindell, great point. Holly's Simple Life says, Carhartt, please support this guy. Send him some pants. Well, I do have a lot of pants with holes in the knees, but generally I try not to wear my dress clothes out in the garden. Farmer DC says, I have ones from Walmart, 3 years old tomato cages and doing good. You have no idea what you're talking about. Well, Farmer DC, I'm not sure where you get your cheap Walmart tomato cages, but these are the ones that I picked up at Walmart, and I can tell you, these are the biggest pieces of junk that I've ever bought. All of the cheap tomato cages that I bought over the years have always turned out to be bent. They fall over, they're not even strong enough to really stick in the ground well. And then once your tomato plants are full of tomatoes, they just fall over anyway. So Farmer DC, I'm glad yours are working out for you, but I still wouldn't recommend you buy cheap tomato cages. There's plenty of other options. What Up Dog 2 says, you would have better results tilling if you use the tiller with tines turning in reverse. This was on one of the videos I did where I tilled up either our corn patch or the pumpkin patch. And what I normally do is whenever you're working with one of those walk behind tillers, The first couple passes that you make when you're going through fresh ground that has green grass on it and things like that, you're going to want to run the tines in reverse. It's very slow going when you have the tines in reverse. I mean, that thing is just barely moving along, but it's tearing up that soil really good. After my first pass or two, I throw that thing in forward and I let those tines spin real fast, and I'm going over those passes real quick, walking behind it, letting the tiller do the work, and that seems to work best for me. So I do use a combination of running them in reverse and running them forward, and that seems to give me the best results. Paul Hibbard says, what kind of tape did you use, and will duct tape work? This question was on our greenhouse video that we did about watch this before you build a greenhouse. It was an overview of everything I learned when I put together this hoop house. And one of the things that we did to protect the hoops, the actual PVC from actually protect the plastic from the PVC hoops, what happens with this greenhouse plastic is when it touches PVC, there's a chlorine gas in there that kind of off gases as this PVC breaks down, and that'll break that plastic down. So what we actually used on this was Gorilla Tape. It was a white Gorilla Tape. It was a UV protected, UV resistant Gorilla Tape. And I ran that on top of all of the PVC hoops on this greenhouse, and that's been working out great. The greenhouse plastic isn't showing any signs of wear along the PVC pipe contact points. MetaMud says, so what do you intend to do with 1,000 times 4,000 pumpkins? This is referring to the pumpkin patch that we planted this spring, where I planted over 1,000 pumpkin seeds. I'm assuming you're referring to every plant should yield 4 pumpkins. That would be very hopeful. I'm only counting on 1 or 2 pumpkins per vine. So if I have 1,000 or 2,000 pumpkins, what we plan to do with those is we're going to sell those at a roadside stand here. We're going to sell them down the street if we can. We're going to sell them in the town nearby, set up several pumpkin stands so that we can sell those throughout the fall. All the pumpkins that we don't use, I plan to try to store and preserve as much as possible because they make excellent livestock food. Our pigs love them, the goats love them, and they're great for them. And so that will be a feed source for us, all of the leftovers. Plus, I'd like to save our own seeds this year to plant in next year's pumpkin patch as well. Rhea Lockney says, question please, putting 2 roosters in one area, they wouldn't fight each other? Well, yes. 2 roosters in one area will fight each other, but eventually one will take over as the dominant rooster and they will end up being friends and they'll work together just fine. I've had 3 or 4, 5 even roosters in a pen, and although there's some initial fighting and sometimes there's occasional sparring, they always work it out, and in the end they come up with their pecking order. They usually have their own little hens that they'll kind of hang out with, and they get along just fine. Always remember though, you don't want to have too many roosters. You always want to have a good ratio. About 1 rooster for every 10 hens is pretty good. You get too much less than that and your hens are going to end up getting too much interaction with roosters, and they lose a lot of feathers and things, so that's not good. Tyler Spencer says, hey SSL Family Dad, do you have a bush hog? And if so, could you do a bush hog video please? A bush hog or a brush hog for this tractor is one of the attachments I really wish I had. I'd really love to blaze some trails through the forest here, make some good, little 4-wheeler trails, walking trails, logging trails, and things like that. And man, would a brush hog or a bush hog come in handy. So I don't have one. When I do, you'll be sure to see it on a video. Leachate Bot. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but thanks for the comments. Rule number 1, God gave them all they need to do this. Best left when we step out of the way. Congratulations. That is a great point, and one of the rules that we try to live by here on this farm, our animals and all the things that we grow here, we try to mimic the environments that they were designed for as best as we can. God has designed all these animals and all these plants to grow in specific conditions and to thrive in specific conditions, and if we can mimic those conditions here and put them in those environments and let them be the animals or the vegetables or fruits that God created them to be, they always thrive and do best that way. It doesn't require fertilizers, it doesn't require a bunch of medications and all kinds of other things. It just requires things being put in the environments that they were designed for, and hopefully we can try to do that as much as possible here. It seems to have been working out very well so far for our produce and for our animals, so very good rule to live by. Collector Bob 810 says, saw a movie where they spread hair from people around their field to keep deer away. Well, that may have been Hannibal. This is referring to the pumpkin patch video we did, where I talked about the need to keep deer out of that pumpkin patch. Something that I will be addressing very soon, hopefully early next week, and I'll have a video out for you guys on that. I don't plan on spreading my hair around the field, although that may work. I don't know if I have enough hair. Guys, one of the things that keeps me going and keeps my family going with this YouTube channel and sharing all that we do here, it's not always easy to do, but your comments and questions and all your suggestions and all those things, my wife and I, my family, sometimes we read them together, and man, is it great. Keep them coming. Thank you very much for your support of the channel. The comments really mean a lot, even the negative ones. Sometimes it can be hard to put yourself out there and do a job or make a recommendation or do a teaching video and have thousands and thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, sometimes even millions of people watching that video and analyzing and critiquing everything that you're doing. Sometimes it's not easy, but it's always appreciated. Comments mean a lot to me. I take to heart everything that is said. It really helps me learn, and it helps me be a better teacher for you guys out there to try to share the things that I do know and that I've learned from my experience here. So thank you for the comments, guys. I'll try to do these comment videos more often. Let me know what you think with a thumbs up. If you like the comments sharing, I'll try to get more comments in next time. So leave your comments, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Have a good one.